wonder. And our theme for the month of March is play. That's right. You heard me. Just play. The title of our talk today is Playing Twister with God, and it will be given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. So at this time, we invite you to sit back, get comfortable, and join us as we open up our sacred service. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
Waiting for me, waiting for me, in the quiet and stillness, waiting for me. Holding a high watch, ever at ease, love will always be waiting for me. When I get discouraged or distracted by the stories life keeps telling me, when I get so worried, all gets blurred and I forget who I am, love is waiting, waiting for me, waiting for me, in the quiet and stillness, waiting for me. Holding a high watch, ever at ease, love will always be waiting for me. Even on the days when all feels lost, there at the crossroads, love is beckoning. If I take a moment to decide, let my heart guide, I find you there, waiting, waiting for me, waiting for me. Love will
So beautiful. What a wonderful way to start our service. Please feel free to add to the chat or the comments section any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like us to include later when we do our spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. And now it's time to move into our time of meditation with Charlene.
Thank you, Tamara. Good morning, my beautiful community. It is March. Can you believe it? Let's go within and just find that center where we are not in the future worried about things. We are not in the past regretting things. We are here. So if you close your eyes and just know that right where your feet are, that's where your heart is. That's where our minds are, in the now. For it is only in this moment, in the current moment, in this now, that all possibilities exist. All potentialities of the divine exist right here, right now, and now, and now. It is why we are so drawn to paying attention to our breath. Each breath as it comes in and out of our bodies is the only breath the body knows. That's why when we go into meditation, we focus on our breath because we know we are in the now as we breathe in and out. All the love that there is here now. All the joy that there is here now. Divine being, the presence is here now. Unconditionally loving us. Right now. Breathing in and out. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. here now. This is true for each and every one of us. Every being on this planet is connected, is one with the divine. Right now. It's easy to know this for ourselves when we are in quiet contemplation. It is also true for when we are running busy here and there. Our neighbors in the midst of war are one with the divine now. Right where they are, God is. Let us look upon our neighbors, not with pity, but with empathy, knowing that there but for the grace of God go I. And then acting out of love, out of compassion, doing whatever love would do in this moment of now. Act from love, from joy, knowing we are one. We are our brothers. We are our sisters. And only this, the truth about us all, is what truly sets us free. And so if you're comfortable, go ahead and wiggle your toes and your fingers and allow your mind's eye to return back into this room, into this body, where we are one with the divine, right here, right now. And so it is. You open your eyes and look around. So the title of today's talk is Playing Twister with God. The key is to play. So we are going to hear a song from Leah. I think you'll enjoy this.
Somebody, anybody tell me why? Sometimes we laugh until we cry. Might be a mystery until we die, but that's gotta be okay. I'm gonna have fun, fun, fun. I'm gonna have fun, fun, fun till the day I'm done. I'm gonna have fun. You see me getting loose, 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 like a long-legged goose, goose, goose. Oh, I'm gonna laugh and play. I'm gonna have fun. Can anybody tell me how it can be? Sometimes we laugh until we pee. That's how you know you're getting free. Cackling your cares away. I'm gonna have fun, fun, fun. I'm gonna have fun, fun, fun till my race is run. I'm gonna have fun. Try my luck, look, like a loud quacking duck, duck, duck. Ha, ha. Even if I'm the only one, I'm gonna have.
Oh, I just love her. Wasn't that super duper fun, you guys? Yes. I'll stop sharing. Let's see if the thing goes wacko. Oh, yeah, it went wacko. All right, let's get it so it's just me. There we go. So, we're going to have fun. I love that song. And you know what? I think that's the new song for the month. So we're going to be singing that every day, every Sunday in March, because I love this title, Play. That's the theme of the month, is play. And playing Twister. Now, Twister's a game that I'm not sure you guys Some of you may not be old enough to understand what good old Twister is, so I did find a picture online, and here. That's a bunch of people playing Twister. Now, how it works. You see these little circles on the mat? Each circle has a color, and the color goes all the way down the mat. And so depending on how many people you're playing with or what kind of Twister it is, there's someone with a spinner. Look at the girl in the back there. Here, let's give you let's see the girl in the back on the chair. She's got like the key. She is playing God with Twister as opposed to playing Twister with God. You feel me? All right. So here's what she's doing. She's spinning this little spinner, right? And then what happens is she calls out right foot, red circle. And everybody has to put their right foot on the red circle. And then she'll say, yellow circle, left hand. So then you have to keep your right foot on that red circle while also putting your left hand on the yellow circle. It becomes hilarious pretty quickly because everybody has to do it. They have to do it. When she calls it out, they have to do it. So that's pretty fun, right? So that's Twister. And so the title of this whole thing is Playing Twister with God or with the divine or with life. And so if you're playing Twister with life, here's how that might look. Now, let's talk about playing Twister with life as if life is a big old game of Twister. And you don't like games. In fact, you've been told since you were young to be serious. Because to be a spiritual person is to be serious. Because God is serious. And I'm telling you that's not true. But okay, let's go with that. So if you're playing the game of life or Twister and you get this command or you get this situation to put your left foot on the red circle, you'll do it, right? Because that's what we do. Life comes up, you got a mortgage, you pay it. These are, the instructions. Show up for life and do the thing. And so then you get this other instruction. All right, now your right hand on the yellow. Okay, so the yellow is way over there and someone's in the way. So I have to figure out how to contort my body to make sure that both my left foot is on the red circle and my right hand is on. And so now you're kind of trying to balance your life as if it were a game of Twister. And so you're being told by the universe, by the divine, what needs to happen in your life. And the goal of Twister, to win it, you have to not fall down. And so if your knee hits or your elbow hits, you're out. So you're trying to balance your life, right? By taking direction from the divine, from within, doing the things. And the thing is, you've got to keep in balance. But balance, the word balance, typically is shown as two scales where everything's even. That's not true balance. True balance, especially in the game of Twister, is just not falling down. Putting enough weight on the one hand while you can get your foot on the other thing while you can contort your body. And it gets a little silly because there's somebody's armpit right in your nose. So there's that. And you can't help but laugh a little bit. And so the idea is not to fall down, just like in regular old life. The game of Twister and the game of life, we don't really like to fall down. So what do we need? If we're playing Twister with the divine and we have all these situations come up, the first thing you need to do when you're playing Twister is to make sure that you've got a stable foundation. Slippery socks won't do. So, yeah, that's very obvious, Charlene. Of course slippery socks won't do. You're going to need at least a pair of yoga socks with the little grippy at the bottom, or bare feet if you're brave, right? To show your feet. But the idea is you got to have a solid foundation for the game of Twister. Now let's look at the game of life. Do I have to have a solid foundation to be able to respond to the requirements that are in front of me? Absolutely. We talked before about how if I'm feeling uneasy and if I'm feeling shaken up, that's the worst time to get up and go out and make big decisions. No. I've got to sit down and hush and listen and allow Spirit to speak through me, because any move I make that's not informed by Spirit, it's just rolling the dice. It's probably going to get worse if I make decisions, I spoke to you about this before, from a place of confusion or not enoughness or fear. Oh,
So yes, starting with a solid foundation, making sure that I can contort myself, as life does require one to do, in a way that keeps me balanced and composed. And it's funny because I think about that little board game again with the girl sitting on the cushion with the little spinner. So she's the god in the program here. She's the one spinning it. All right, everybody, she calls out the move, and everybody has to figure out how to do it. I think about that, and it usually it's random, right? With this spinny, it's somewhat random. So you could have just gotten comfortable with your left foot on the red circle, your right hand on the yellow circle, and the green and the blue. You're doing stuff, and then you just were told to do something with one circle, and now you have to take that hand and put it someplace else. I just got comfortable with this type of maybe mortgage, and now something changed and I have to redo it. So life is like that. As soon as you think you're comfortable, you nailed this one area and you can put it to bed. Oh my gosh, is it back up again? I just dealt with that. And again, yes, you may have just dealt with it and now it's up again for consideration. Life, that's how that works. So what can we do? Those of us who were born and raised in an environment that said, thou shalt not have fun. Boy, that game of Twister's gonna suck. Like, you're just going to be mad. You're going to be arguing the whole time. What? You just told me to put my hand on the red circle. Now you want me to put it on the yellow circle? And you're just going to be fussing. And it's not going to be fun. And how much fun are you going to be around if you're always fussing? Nobody likes that. So usually, the first thing we can do to get okay with this kind of situation is understand that life is a game. It's a game that we play. Willingly or unwillingly, you might as well have fun. Don't take ourselves too seriously. In fact, to get back to joy, Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now, I always refer to him because he's so awesome. He is the one I mentioned earlier that had this idea that he should end his life because he can't live with himself anymore. And then he had a thought, wait a minute, who is the I that can't live with myself? So clearly there's kind of two aspects of me. I'm going to go with the big S, the big self, because that is probably reality. And so Eckhart Tolle says that a lot of times we become that person who's hard to live with when all we're thinking about is the future or the past. So we're either worried about the next month's bill or the next 3 months plan or the 5-year plan, worried about it, where all of our energy is in the future. It's hard to live today. Or the other side of it, where everything we do is regretful. I've got regrets. If only I did this differently. If only I chose that instead of what I chose. And in our minds, we're creating this reality that would be different, and then we would be happy. This reality in our minds, when we're not in the current moment, in the present moment, in the now, we are simply saying everything would be different if, or things will be better when. And it robs us of the current moment where all the joy is. You can only be joy in the current moment. You cannot be in joy by just remembering joy or looking forward to joy. In the current moment is where it truly exists. So what we do is we make plans. Eckhart says, make plans. I mean, just because you're in the now doesn't mean that you won't take a minute, look at the calendar and schedule things. But then pay more attention to what we're doing while we're doing it. And be in the joy in the moment as we're doing our lives so that we don't depend on results. Think about it. A lot of us will put up with something right now because we have an idea that the results are worth it. Think about how much we put up with the idea that it's going to be worth it. It may or may not. Once you get there, it might not be what you thought it was going to be. I can tell you lots of stories of people that pray for things and they get those things and they're still who they are. So now they're the same person with a new thing. And they thought that their person would change when they got that thing. And it turns out,
everywhere you go, there you are. If we don't work with who we are, we're just that same person with a lot of more crap to clean and to ensure, right? As soon as we honor the present moment, all unhappiness, get this, and all struggle dissolve. And life begins to flow with joy and ease, joy being the key word. As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolve, and life begins to flow with joy and ease. So do you have joy in your life right now? I do. I kind of am naturally I'm going to use some words that I used to use to describe myself, and I was told by others in this teaching that I was mislabeling myself, and it was a little bit mean to myself. But I'll give you some things. Hyper. I'm hyper. People told me I'm hyper, or I'm goofy, or I'm silly. Now these were attributes attributed to me as I go through life, and I come in, and it takes a lot to make me just chill. If there's good music, it's hard to just, I can't, I've got to dance. So that's me, and I've been told over the years to tamp it down. You're doing too much. You're too hyper. You're too silly, and you're too goofy. And then I came into this teaching, and they were like, oh, no. I mean, yeah, time and place and all, but you are full of joy. Don't ever let someone steal that from you. Don't ever let someone tell you that you got too much joy. There's no such thing. It's like, come on, man. And I thought, really? It's okay. I mean, part of me always knew that. I just don't want to make other people uncomfortable. So I've been kind of tamping it down. And they're like, yeah, well, obviously time and place. Don't jump up and run to the stage if it's not your play, like obviously. So yes, I don't be crazy, but also don't allow people to steal it. And as I've come through this teaching, I've seen other people that are just embracing their joy, and they're so much fun to be around. Although at first I do judge them like I judged myself, and then I realize what I'm doing, and then I let it down. I let down the barrier. This happened to me at least twice in the past year when I met someone just like me, and then I judged them for being like me, and then saw what I was doing, and then I stopped it. It just takes a lot of self-awareness. Now, if you're not normally in a joyful state, that could be that you are a type of anxiety person, and that's fine. Think about it, though. If you follow Eckhart Tolle, the anxiety is typically based on future thinking or past ruminations of regret. Would you agree? And I'm not saying don't take your medication, ditch the psychologist. No, I'm not saying any of that, but I am saying this, that a lot of our pain and a lot of our stress comes from our habituated thinking. And if we could just take one moment and find one moment of joy in whatever, or what, just actually don't try to find the joy. Just try to be in the now and watch how he says that the unhappiness and the struggle will fall away. I feel like if we try to find the joy, then we end up just chasing another thing. But if we just simply sit where we are, breathing in and breathing out, and just being here now, that a lot of the magic is right there. In fact, that's all that exists is the now. And so we give attention to our actions, and we do things while fully present. Do it 100% fully present. We talked a couple months ago, chop wood, carry water, right? We do our meditation. We get extremely present. And then our presence that we bring to the daily mundane, it elevates that experience, because it's not in what we're doing, it's how we're doing it, who we are bringing to the task at hand. And then we're not compulsively striving towards some end goal. We are simply doing whatever it is we're supposed to be doing now, and that will cease a lot of our suffering, and we'll get more energy flowing into the current moment. because you'd be surprised how the leakage happens when we give our energy to the future or to the past. We have less for the current moment, the present moment. So that's super fun. So that's playing Twister. That's the Twister part. And I have something to say about, there's a version of Twister, I don't know if you know this, but where you could play it with a group of people. Like a group of people who one of you has to do the thing. So imagine, a minute ago I gave you an example of Twister where each person that's on the mat has to each find a red circle, yellow circle, blue circle, right? But there's another version of it where you have a group of people and the moderator yells out the command. And then based on your group, you determine which one is closest and which one can keep the whole balanced, yet cover the requirement. So I like that group Twister because it reminds me of a spiritual community like ours, where we are working as a community of people and we have some requirements come up. Things happen, right? There's things we have to do weekly, and there's positions open up, like we talk about our board positions, and there's things that have to be done to run an organization. And it's kind of like we're playing group Twister. It turns out someone needs to do hospitality. What is that? That's the yellow circle. Someone needs to put their right hand on the yellow circle, and we try to figure out who's closest to the yellow circle. Is your right hand available? Can you handle that? And then they do it for the group. And I love that. It takes a little communication and stuff, but hey, what a fun way to elevate that Twister game. And it's, I guess, the idea of not falling. I wouldn't want to be afraid to fall. It's kind of like being afraid to fail. I read something that if you're not failing at some things, then you're not living. You're not taking any chances. You're not moving forward. We're all supposed to try our best and then fail a little bit. So it's, contrary to popular opinion, failing is good. I know the scientists embrace it, right? They just keep a notebook. Okay, great. Taking notes. Oh, that failed. Got it. And they're excitedly take notes. Now, how is it that a scientist can look at failure and think progress, whereas the rest of the world has been conditioned to think failure, loser? I tell you, it's because they don't understand either that life is a big old experiment. It's a game, true. There's some rules you got to get with, and you're going to do your best, but it's a big experiment too. And when we fail, okay, tried that, whew, figured out what I don't like now. All right, no beats. I have to try it before I know I don't like it. Some things I don't have to try, and that's why God gave you big sisters. Growing up in my family, I had 2 big sisters and 1 little sister, and I just got to watch a lot of it. I'm like, that didn't go well for her. Note to self, don't piss off your mother. Got it. Like, a lot of times you can take examples and you can look and see how things are going for other people. And then there's examples of things going successfully. But just because it worked out for them doesn't mean it'll work out for you. Take some notes. All right. So I don't have the body of a gymnast. Got it. Too long and too lean. You look like a giraffe. Got it. I mean, these are the things we learn coming up. And we knew when we were kids that we were just playing. And we didn't really hang too much off of winning and losing. It was kind of a drag when people did. You've ever had that competitive person play a game with you? It's kind of a drag, right? Right? I mean, I know that some guys like to get together and play basketball, and they kind of put each other down because it's part of the game. Guys probably tend to do this a little bit more. I noticed that. I'm like, oh, that's mean. Don't talk about his mom. Oh, they're just playing. This is how they play. All right, that's a different kind of play. But I feel like kids know how to play. They know how to use their imagination. And they know that what's the worst that could happen? Like, what's going to happen? I have a story about a young man. A Polish composer and pianist. He was also the Polish prime minister. His name, Paderewski. was giving a concert. All right? So imagine, beautiful orchestra, art, a big stage, grand piano, lots of circumstance, right? Pomp and circumstance. So he's giving this concert. After the concert, a mother brought her young son to the concert. They watched it. It was amazing. But after the concert, the young son slipped away while his mom was talking to a friend. He got up on stage. He sat at the huge Steinway piano and began playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Come on. Of course he did. He's a kid. There's a piano. He knows how to play something. What could go wrong? The mother was mortified when she saw this. The audience began listening. Amazing. The house lights went down and a spotlight shone on the boy. Pedrusky walked up behind the boy and told him to keep playing. He reached around him with one arm and began to fill in the bass notes to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And then he reached around him with the other hand and began running some obligatos. The young upstart and the grand master playing beautiful music together. I love that. That's the divine. We are the little kid. We should be anyway. This is our energy. I shouldn't say should. I should. No. But couldn't we be the little kid? Where we see something and we're like, try it. Why not? What could go wrong? And then other people, they might be mortified. Sure. You know, if anybody has a child watching you dance in front of their friends, yeah, they're mortified, right? But that's fine. We are playing and the divine plays with us. In fact, there's an Ernest Holmes quote that talks about God or the divine playing with us. In every game, God is there. In everything you do, the divine is there. He says, God sings all the songs, dances all the dances, paints all the pictures, creates all art, writes every book, and plays every game. This is Ernest Holmes' idea about God in the Holmes papers. Because how could we say, oh, well, if you're to be serious, you must be very spiritual. And if you're to be spiritual, you must be very serious. That's someone's interpretation of that. But the divine is creativity itself. And it is most big when it's unfiltered in little children. So we follow them. We watch what they do. We are that little boy that saw a big piano and thought, you know what? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. I'm thinking I should go play that. I just love that. So we have this sacred act of playing. I'll end with this quote by Victor Shamas. Play is a sacred act. When we are playing, the essence of all creation flows freely through us. We are expressing our true nature and connecting with the very core of our existence. Nothing is more spiritual than that. Let's go within and have a prayer. I'll check the chat to see if there's any requests. And as we return to that central part of our very being, that place where we know that we are one with the divine creative force that moves and pulsates through our being with every beat of our hearts, that we have never been separate from creation. We are the creation. And through that, we create anew. Every day, every moment, we have access to the fun, to the joy, to the love, and to the ever-expanding, abundant life that is within each and every one of us. So I speak my word that we are coming more and more awake to that fact. We do not have to be the serious spiritual icon that we imagine we must be. That it is just as beautiful and spiritual and divine to laugh until we cry, to find the joy in the simple things, and to embrace each other just the way they are. This is the truth about us, that we are each here on purpose by divine appointment to live out the life that is ours to live out. It's like no other. We get to be more and more ourselves and watch as the people around us relax and become more and more comfortable with who it is that they truly are. That is the contagious nature of the divine working through and as us. Together, we expand the connection of the divine and humanity so that we can have a world that begins to heal from all appearances of separation, whether they be war or famine or the results of climate change, whatever is happening right now. It's not as big as the divine idea of us. And we can move toward and grow toward our highest yet to be, healing, revealing our best. And so knowing that this is true, I simply release these words into the law, knowing that they are already done, because the universe always says yes. And they return to me with the fullness from which I spoke. I release my word, and so it is. Amen. Ashe. Now let's hear from Leah. It's one of my favorite songs growing up. I hope you remember this song.
Somebody come and play. Somebody come and play today. Somebody come and smile the smiles and sing the songs. It won't take long. Somebody come and play today. Somebody come and play. Somebody come and play my way. Somebody come and rhyme the rhymes and laugh the laughs. It won't take time, just somebody come and play today. Somebody come with me and see the pleasure in the wind. Somebody see before it gets too late to begin. Somebody come and play. Somebody come and play today. Somebody come and be my friend and watch the sun till it rains again. Somebody come and play today. You know the rules. Thinking of you know that I will never say goodbye. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
I think we just got rickrolled by Leah's son.
Did. What a better way
Came to play.
end
Yeah.
our message and our music today with the theme of play. That was like the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae. Oh, my friends, my dear friends. If you're not laughing now, you're missing something. Oh, now it's time to bless the donations that are shared with us today at CSL Leesburg. We believe in the law of circulation. So we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. As you can see by looking at our screen, there's so many ways for you to give. It's easy to find a way that works for you. We thank you so much for your support. You keep us playing, you keep us singing, you keep us here every Sunday and also during the week. And I'll tell you a little more about that later. Now it's time to bless our gifts. Please join me. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. And now it's time for announcements. I told you there'd be more fun, there'd be more play during the week. So on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock, if you're able, join Charlene and her friends for Dream Study. This is a time, ladies, I got one I got to share with you because I had the craziest dream last night. So I need some interpretation. I had this dream, but I just don't know. What does it mean? So on Tuesday mornings, this is when we get together and our friends help us interpret our dreams. Because while we're sleeping, our brains are busy. Spirit is communicating with us. And sometimes you just need somebody to help you interpret those messages that you're receiving while you sleep. So that's 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Now, the theme of the month is play. So what are we doing on Wednesday nights? Guys, we got to shake things up. We are having game night. So join us midweek. We might end up talking a little bit about the message today and the music today and how things are going in our life. But we're also just going to play. We're going to get together on our Zoom link, and we got a whole bunch of games that we're kicking around and exploring. And we're just going to play the month of March on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. Please join us. I will be there.
What?
Yes. 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 I need to play too. All right, folks. As it always seems on Sunday mornings, it is a time for us to say goodbye. If you can join us after service, please hang around. We do something that we call pearls. We share those little nuggets that really resonated with our soul. We talk to each other. We catch up. If you can join us, please join us. And if you can't, we send you off with our blessings. But before you go, let's come together and do our closing affirmations. So put your hand over your heart. And I was reading something today, how good this is for your body. Just give yourself a hug real quick. Oh, your body loves that. And join me in saying, I am love.
I am love.
I am love.
Thank you so much. Now, we're going to point to somebody in the room with us, a furry friend or a companion, or we're just going to point back at the screen and join me as I say, you are love.
Are loved. You are love.
All of you are love. And now put your hands up in the air. Because as we know, it is all divine love. It is love.
It is all love.
Woo, thank you so much for playing with us today on this Sunday. If you have to go, we send you off with blessings. And if you can stay,